Thanks. Let's move on to our penultimate of this session. It's Agnieszka McCaleb, who's from SGH Warsaw School of Economics, who's going to be talking on China and Taiwan's competitiveness and social well-being compared. Okay, Agnieszka, can I open the floor to you?
Yes, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Agnieszka McCaleb. I'm from SGH Warsaw School of Economics in Poland. So I represent here a European MOC. And today I would like to tell you about the initiative to write case studies or write research together on China and Taiwan's competitiveness and also social well-being in those countries. And first of all, I would like to thank Mike Domingo for this initiative and his constant support. He cannot be here with us today. And I think this idea of writing case studies together, doing research together, is in line with what Mike and Enright was speaking about today, that we should communicate more and cooperate more. So I hope that you will be interested in those ideas for case studies. And I would love to hear from you which ones you would be most interested in. And so I will present to you today the case study that I've been already working on with a colleague, Mike J. from Switzerland, on China's competitiveness case study, which is an update of Michael Porter's presentation in 2004. And then I will present the ideas for case studies. I will try to be very quick. Michael Porter last year at HEC in Paris gave a speech about the governance and corporate strategy, and that there is a need for a shift from shareholders' primacy to stakeholder optimization. And he voiced his concern over the state of capitalism nowadays. And he said that there is a debate now whether maybe socialism is a better option, a better system serving best the average citizen. And the threat apparently comes not only from outside, but also from inside, as many people believe that nowadays the capitalism as it is does more harm than good. So that's why we should study China, because China is going to be very soon the biggest economy in the world, and China represents socialism. It calls it China, socialism with Chinese characteristics. I don't have to explain it here as we are in the Asian MOC, so this is all very clear. China has made incredible progress in terms of its economic performance. Here you can see how China progressed very quickly over the last 10 years from the 29th position in this Global Innovation Index to only 12th position last year. And only 2 positions behind Germany, and it overtook Japan. But when we look at this social performance, we can see that China, obviously, is still a developing country. It lags behind those developed economies. In terms of happiness ranking, also it has been improving, but it's still very distant from developed economies. And the most pressing issue for China are the inequalities, as they are very high and they are increasing rapidly. The Chinese leaders are, of course, aware of this issue, and that's why Xi Jinping last year he said that now they should focus on developing economy that is following the common prosperity, so eradicating inequalities and building the economic model that is centered around the people. So the case study that we are working on, it is going to be a short one of around 10 pages. The module it's going to fit is strategy for nations and regions, and it's going to cover the learning topics, that is economic development, strategy and policy choices, role of the government, of course, and new priorities for its economic policy. And here, seeing how that common prosperity is going to be carried out. And we are going to focus here also on the concept of creating shared value. The idea is that we will present the draft in September, so very soon, just after the summer, and the pre-final version at the Harvard meeting in December. The structure of this case study is very much in line in the previous case studies of countries. So we are going to go chronologically and just highlight the key stages in China's economic development. I will not go into more detail here, as I know we don't have much time. So other ideas for case studies, especially trying to see which system serves best its citizens, is the idea to compare China and Taiwan's competitiveness and social well-being. Because the countries share the same culture, language, and they started their fast economic growth at around the same time. Of course, we cannot compare China with Taiwan because of the size and issues that are related with that. So the idea here is to compare Shenzhen with Taiwan. And here we'll have Tony and Janet helping us on this, and colleagues from Shenzhen working on the Shenzhen part. We could go further with this idea, and we could have a case study that compares those two countries those two entities with Singapore that we already have, and we could update and we could compare them. Then there is idea to update Taiwan's competitiveness case study, which would be an update of the existing one from 2014. Then interesting and of course quite the discussed issue of China's innovation. Is China really going to be decoupling, right? As we were listening to this discussion earlier today, in terms of technology as well, or is it actually in fact pursuing integration with the global leaders in innovation? The next idea is to write about how Chinese companies are carrying out creating shared value concept. And so it could be creating shared value Chinese style, here focusing on state-owned enterprises, but it could be also on private ones. As to topic ideas for China, maybe for students, or could be also for us, affiliates, it could be focused on electric vehicle industry. Actually, I'm researching this industry right now, biotechnology, healthcare or biopharmaceuticals, software, and AI, as China is very successful in those industries. As to clusters, I will start with Shenzhen. Here I identified such clusters as genetics industry, electric vehicles, as I mentioned already, intelligent equipment, and high-end medical devices cluster. Other cluster could be big data cluster in Guizhou province, where we could show whether this cluster plays a role in bridging regional disparities in China. And then Changsha, we have very important heavy construction machinery cluster there. Other clusters, of course, in Beijing, Shanghai, big data cluster in, I think maybe I already spoke about this, sorry. So as to firms, the ideas are the most innovative companies from China. We know the ones on the top, I think, maybe the rest is not as well known, but what is also quite impressive that China already has 600 firms in the database of global 2,500 firms that invest the most in the world in R&D. And as for topics for case studies around Taiwan's economy, so industries as semiconductors, we are working on such case studies right now, but also electronic and electrical equipment, technology, hardware and equipment, and software and computer services. Those are the industries. And as to clusters, we have Hsinchu, Taipei, electronics and semiconductors cluster, Kaohsiung, Gongshan district fasteners, and Taichung aerospace and bicycles. And some outstanding firms, besides the ones that we are researching right now, those are MediaTek, Delta Electronics, Pochen, and United Microelectronics. So that's, I hope that it was quick enough. I hope that to hear from you whether you are interested in that or not, or which ones.
Many thanks, Agnieszka.
Was my presentation visible actually?
Yes, of course it was. Yes. It was
Okay,
really good.
okay, good,
So,
good.
so thanks to anyone. I think
You have 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes, 2.5 at the moment. I
Sorry.
think well, let's stick with that. And I think that I would like to say that this is being recorded. We can go back to it in the future. We can contact each other. And I think that the idea of the case studies on China and the well-being and looking at the socialist model compared to the capitalist model, people are going to be interested in this. So let's come back to it. So, okay. I think, thanks so much.